Surah Al Bayyinah. It has 8 verses. It is the 98th verse of the Holy Qur'an. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Lam, 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 fata, la, mim sukun. Yakunil, yakunil, yakunil. That lam belongs to this cycle and the next one, and it is because lam shadda means they are double lams. So we are pronouncing the first one here. That is why we say yakunil. Ladina, ladina, not lazina, but ladina. Your teeth will be on your tongue whilst pronouncing the dhal. Alif, ba, ta, tha, dal, dhal. That is the one. Dhal. Ladina. And you see the second part of the lam is now here. Ladina. Kafaru, kafaru. After ra, there is a waw and an alif that doesn't have any diacritic attached to them. That is because they are mads. So in the course of pronouncing it, just forget about them. They are for the purpose of elongation, and that is why you say kafaru and not kafaru. Min, min, min. Ahlil, ahlil, ahlil. Alif hamza fata a, haun sukun a, then li, that is lam kisra li, then lam sukun lil. Kitabi, kitabi, and not kitabi, ki, not the one, not qaf, but kaf, as in ka. Kitabi, and not kitabi, kitabi, because of the mud. Wal, wal, wal. Forget about the alif that is between the waw and the lam because it's there for elongation. It is a mud. Wal. Mushri, mushri, mushri. Mim dhamma mu, shin sukun mush, then ra kisra ri, mushri. Kina, kina. You remember this is kaf. The first letter there is kaf and not qaf. Kaf as in ka, kariya. Munfakina, munfakina. After the first mim, the second letter there is nun, but doesn't have any diacritic attached to it, which is nunu sakina. The rule of nunu sakina is for you to make a gunna there. That is the waiting there before you move forward, and that is why we say munfakina and not munfakina. Don't just say munfakina and go away. No, munfakina. And the kaf is double because of the shadda, and that is why you say fakina and not fakina. Munfakina. Hatta, hatta, ha, the small ha, hatta. Ta'tiya, ta'tiya, not ta'atiya, not ta'tiya, but ta'tiya. You're tying up the alif hamza because it has a sukun before moving forward to the next letter, which is ta here. Ta'tiya. Humul, humul, humul. Bayyinah, bayyinah. Go and check our video on how to stop at the end of a verse, and you would see that this place, though it is ta at the end, you wouldn't say bayyinat, but bayyinah, bayyinah, except if you are moving into the next verse together with this. That is when you say bayyinatu and so on, with attaching it to the next verse. If not, you would just release a here, bayyinah. لم يكن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين منفكين حتى تأتيهم البينة. لم يكن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين منفكين حتى تأتيهم البينة. لم يكن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين منفكين حتى تأتيهم البينة. رسول. Remember, it's not rasulun because ra is a thick letter, so you say ra, rasulum, and I put in the meme there because the meme is double, being that there is a shadda there, and that is why it is rasulum. We are pronouncing the first part here in the cycle, rasulum min Allahi. Min Allahi. You see, the second part of the meme is now coming out in this cycle. Min Allahi. And if you are to begin from the previous cycle, it will be Rasulum min Allahi. Min Allahi. Yatlu. 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 The waw at the end there is just madda. Suhufam. Suhufam. It's not just suhufan, but suhufam. We are pronouncing the meme, the first part of the meme there, because of the shadda on it. Mutahhara. 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 Just as I previously said, here you wouldn't say mutahharatan, but mutahhara. Mutahhara, you release a at the end. Mutahhara. Rasulun min Allahi yatlu suhufan mutahhara. رسول من الله يتلو صحفا مطهرة. رسول من الله يتلو صحفا مطهرة. فيها kutubun. You would do it as if you want to pronounce the qaf. So, and that is why I kept the qaf in this cycle, so you understand it better. Kutubun. You get kutubun. Qayyimah. Qayyimah, not qayyimah, because qaf is a thick letter, so it is qayyimah. Fiha kutubun qayyimah. Fiha kutubun qayyimah. Fiha kutubun qayyimah. وما 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 تفرق تفرق تفرق. The alif before the last lam there is just mud, so you don't pronounce it. It's there for the sake of writing. Tafarraqal. Do not be confused about it. Ladina. 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 Utul. Utul. After alif hamza dhamma, next thing is wow. That wow is why we say utul and not just utul, because it is a mud, which is for elongation. Kitaba. Kitaba. Just as the previous wow, this one taba, because of the alif that is in front of the ta, which is a mud. Illa. 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 Min ba'di. Min ba'di. After mim kisra mi, then there is noon without anything attached to it, which is a noon sakina, and the rule there is gunna, which is the weight in there, and that is why you say min ba'di. Maja, not maja. You have to elongate it for 2 harakats. Maja, because of the alif mads that are in front of the mim and the jim. Maja. Athumul. 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 Bayyinah. 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 وما تفرق الذين أوتوا الكتاب إلا من بعد ما جاءتهم البينة وما تفرق الذين أوتوا الكتاب إلا من بعد ما جاءتهم البينة وما تفرق الذين أوتوا الكتاب إلا من بعد ما جاءتهم البينة وما أمروا. The function of the last waw and last alif there are mud. They are just muds. Mud is for elongation, and that is why you say umiru and not just umiru. Umiru, 2 harakats. Illa. 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 Liya'budullaha. Liya'budullaha. After dal, there is a waw, there is an alif and another alif and an alam. All these 4 things don't have any diacritic attached to them. They are there as much as style of writing, so do not pay attention to that. Just liya'budullaha. Mukhlisina. Mukhlisina. After lam is sword. Sword, not thad. Don't say mukhlisina. It's wrong. That is sa. This is sword. Mukhlisina. Sina. Lahuddina. 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 Hunafa'a. Hunafa'a. This one, the first letter there is ha. Ha. alif ba ta tha ha, the small ha, and so a bit of air will come out when you're pronouncing it. Hunafa'a. ويقيمس ويقيمس ويقيمس. The person listening to you would be able to pick that the next letter you are pronouncing is sod after mim domamu, and that is why you say ويقيمس. Then solata, solata, sodun and not salata. Solata, not shalata, not salata, but solata, sodun, solata. Wayutuz, 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 not wayutuz. If you say you-tu, you are removing the hamza there. You-tu, wayutu, you-tu, you are tying up the hamza because it has a sukun, and that is why you say wayutuz. Zakata, 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 not zakata, because of the alif mud in front of the kaf. Wadhalika, not dhalika. Wadhalika, this one is the one in front of dal. Dal, dhal, dhalika, your teeth will be on your tongue. Dhalika, wadhalika. Dinul, dinul. After dal, the ya there before the noon is just a mud, and that is why you don't see any diacritic attached to it. Is for elongation, and that is why you say dinu. Qoyima, 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 and not kayima. Not kaf, but qaf. Qoyima. وما أمروا إلا ليعبدوا الله مخلصين له الدين حنفاء ويقيموا الصلاة ويؤتوا الزكاة وذلك دين القيمة. وما أمروا إلا ليعبدوا الله مخلصين له الدين حنفاء ويقيموا الصلاة ويؤتوا الزكاة وذلك دين القيمة. وما أمروا إلا ليعبدوا الله مخلصين له الدين حنفاء ويقيموا الصلاة ويؤتوا الزكاة وذلك دين القيمة. The second line, the last thing, solata, there, we recited it as solata because I'm not stopping there, but when I stopped there, I recited it as solah, and then I released air. But if you are to continue, then you will say solata wa yu'tu zakata and so on. Hope you understand it. Innal ladhina. The rule of noon mushaddada, that is any noon that you see in this Quran that has a shadda, is gunna. You wait a bit on the noon that has the shadda before moving forward, and that is why you say innal ladhina and not just innal ladhina. It's easier for me to just say innal ladhina, but saying innal ladhina is deliberate, regardless of being a fast reciter or a slower one or even a medium one. Innal ladhina if I'm slow, Inna ladina if I'm fast. Inna ladina you get, but when you want to apply the rule inna ladina, and even if you are fast, inna ladina, you get. So just take note of that. And you know, this Quran is actually very simple because it's very repetitive. Once you understand this is not changing from Baqarah to Nas in the Holy Quran. Wherever you see this noon mushaddada is the same ruling. So it's just such a bonus for all of us. Once you get it here, then you can flow anywhere else. So may Allah help you to do that. Ameen. Kafaru, 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 not kafaru. Remember? Car, like your car, your new brand Toyota car, kafaru. Min, min, min. Ahlil kitabi. Alright, these two cycles shouldn't confuse you, and that is why they occur concurrently. Is because of the way I wrote it. There isn't enough space for them to fit up there, and that is why you see that they are here concurrently, but I'm reciting them jointly. Ahlil kitabi, ahlil kitabi, and not ahlil kitabi. Wal mushri, wal mushri, wal mushri. You guys should ask me question in the comments because I don't even know who is taking this lesson or not. If you're clear with it or you have any questions, ask down below, please. Kina, kina. After the kaf, there is a ya. That ya doesn't have anything attached to it, which made it become a mud. It is a mud ya, and that is why you say kina and not just kina. Kina, two harakats, elongation. Fi, and just as in the previous cycle, in this cycle the ya is also a mud, and the reason it is there is for elongation, and that is why we say fi. We elongate it for two harakats, like 2 seconds before moving forward. Nari, nari, not nari, nari, no. Nari, 2 harakats, 2 seconds elongation before moving forward. Jahannama, Jahannama. Alright, let's begin learning Arabic. May Allah protect us from Jahannam. I mean, that is hellfire they're talking about here. Jahannama. May Allah protect us from it. Jahannama. The first letter there is Jim. When it comes in the beginning of a word, it is written this way. Khalidina, Khalidina. This one is Kha. Alif, ba, ta, tha, jim, ha, kha, kha. That kha, when it comes at the beginning, just as jim, it is written this way instead of that way that you know it in huruf. Fiha, fiha, fiha. The big ha, and not just ha or ha. Like, you get? Ulaika hum, ulaika hum. Alright, you might think it's ulaika, but there is a mistake here. I'm using a Quran app that I just copied and pasted here, and they made a mistake. It is wound schoon and not a mad wow, and that is why you say ulaika. So sharrul, sharrul, sharrul. This first letter there is shin, and that shin fatah sha, sha. Bariya, bariya, bariya. Alright, now take note of the ya here. The ya has a shadda, which means it is a double ya that is there, and that is why we say bariya and not just bariya. إن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين في نار جهنم خالدين فيها أولئك هم شر البرية. إن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين في نار جهنم خالدين فيها أولئك هم شر البرية. إن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين في نار جهنم خالدين فيها أولئك هم شر البرية. إن الذين Alif, Hamza, Kisra, E. That thing there under the Alif is what we call the Hamza. So putting them together, we call them Alif Hamza. So it's the same thing, you see? Amanu, Amanu, Amanu. Alright, before I start, you can see that there are two cycles that occurred concurrently, and it is because I'm joining them together, so do not be confused. I will recite the one at the top coming down to the bottom. Wa'amilus, Wa'amilus. Just for the listener to know that the next thing after the lam's doma lu is sword. Wa'amilus. Salihati, Salihati, Salihati. Ulaika hum, Ulaika hum, Now, you see that lam has something like an alif on top. This is a very small alif. That is the mud. Ulaika hum khairul, khairul, not khairul, not khairul. Khairul, it is kha fata, kha, khairul. Bariya, bariya. You release it at the end. Bariya. Inna alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati ulaika hum khairul bariyah. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أولئك هم خير البرية. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أولئك هم خير البرية. جزاؤهم عند the first letter there is ayn, and that is how it is written whenever it comes in the beginning of a word. عند, it is ayn. ربهم Rabbihim. Remember, it's not Rabbihim, but Rabbihim because Ra is a thick letter. Jannatu. 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 If you were to stop here, like jazauhum inda rabbihim jannat, you wouldn't pronounce the two, but if you are to continue, it will be jannatu. Adnin tajri. Adnin tajri. You see, because jim is a huruf al-qalqala, that is why we say tajri. We are not properly putting in jim, kisra, fatha, or dhamma, or fatatain, kisratain, or dhammatain, but tajri, we are pronouncing it kind of baina, you get. But if it were not a school that was there, of course it would say something like tajiri, tajuri, or something like that, you get. Tajiri. Go and look up our video on huruf al-qalqala, you would learn a lot, inshallah. Min tahti. Min tahti is very easy for me to just say min tahti. Min tahti. But the reason I waited on the min tahti, on the noon, before I move forward to the ta is because noon is noon sakina. Noon, that is a noon sakina, which is we need to make a gunna there. Go and look up our video on that, inshallah you will learn a lot. Hal anhar. Hal anharu. Hal anharu. Hal anharu. Not hal, but hal. It is the big ha. Khalidina. 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 Fiha abada. Fiha abada. Because I'm stopping on the dal, that is why I say abada. Though you are seeing the fatatain there, I didn't say abadan because I'm stopping there. If I'm to continue, then I will say abadan radiyallahu. Then this is radiyallahu. Radiyallahu. You remember how we treated the word Allah, how to pronounce it correctly. If anything that comes before the word Allah has the diacritic fatha on it, you would call it thickly, and that is why we say radiyallahu anhum. Anhum, ayn. Make sure you bring out the ayn. It's not anhum, but ayn, anhum. Ayn, anhum. Waradu anhu. Waradu anhu. After ra, there is dodun and not do. Not waradu, but waradu. Dodun. Du. Dhalika liman. Dhalika liman. Dhalika, not zalika. Our Hausa people, I'm also Hausa, so not zalika. Dhalika. Dhalika, your teeth will be on your tongue when you want to bring it out. After dal, this dhal. Dal, dhal, that one. Khashiya. Khashiya. Kha'un, not hashiya. Khashiya. Khashiya. That thing there at the end is ya. Khashiya. Rabbah. Rabbah. Alright. If you know how to stop at the end of a verse, you would know that this is ha at the end there, but we are not saying rabbahu, but rabbah. You are releasing air and just releasing it into the air. Jazauhum inda rabbihim jannatu adnin tajri min تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه ذلك لمن خشي ربه جزاؤهم عند ربهم جنات عدن تجري من تحتها الأنهار جنات عدن تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه ذلك لمن خشي ربه. You can also say رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه. You release it there. Then ذلك لمن خشي ربه. If you notice, all this time I'm reciting them for you. I'm giving you 2 to 3 ways of how to recite it. In case you stop here, this is how you do. In case you stop there, the first time, I think, was it the first or the second time, I stopped at this raw. In the second line, the first raw there, I stopped at har min tahtiha al-anhar. I didn't say anharu because I'm stopping there. But the second time, or was it the first time, when I moved forward without stopping there, I instead said من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها, and so on. So I hope you're taking note of it. Jazakumullahu khairan. May Allah make it easy for you, and may it serve as sadaqatun jariyah.